Hello and welcome to the Record Club, brought to you by Record Store Day, the official charts and National Album Day, proudly in association with Bowers and Wilkins. My name is Jess Iszatt. Thank you so much for joining us. We are very excited to say this evening that Miles Kane is here to talk all about his brand new album, Change the Show. If you're new to the Record Club, we're going to be spending the next half an hour talking to Miles all about the brilliant new record. And then we're going to be putting some of your questions about the album forward for him to answer. So if there is anything you'd like to know about the new record, whether it's about a certain song, the artwork, or a particular lyric that you've enjoyed, drop us a question in the comments section below, and I'll be asking a selection of them in the second half of our chats. On top of that, one lucky person who sends in a question will be randomly selected to win a pair of Bowers & Wilkins PX7 over-ear noise-cancelling headphones. It's one not to miss, guys. Get your questions in. I'm currently donning some now and everything's sounding fabulous. I also have the new record here in my hand. If you haven't already picked up your own copy from your local record store, we thoroughly recommend you get involved and do that once our chat with Miles is over. So let's get straight into this week's Record Club and welcome Miles Kane, everybody.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, good. How are you? We need a bit of a fanfare when you arrive, don't
You
we?
need to overdub some crowd noises or something there, don't you?
Oh my God, yeah, little applauses and stuff. Well, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate the background. It's very musical that you've got there.
Thank you. Yeah, well, I'm just in the living room here. We've got Bardo, Bowie up there, Lennon's over there, Neil Young, yeah. So all my faves.
And a guitar.
Yeah.
Got to have the strings in.
Yeah.
So we actually start each week on the Record Club with a question from one of the many amazing independent record stores across the UK. And this week's question is from Record Corner in Godalming, which we now know is in Surrey. Miles, they want to know what inspired you to focus on Motown and soul on this new album?
Well, it was just a natural progression, really, for me. It's something that I've always loved and has always been my go-to, to when I'm in the house or if I want to go out and stuff or getting ready to go out. Motown is the tunes that I put on to get me in the zone or whatever. And growing up in my mum's and my nan's, you couldn't go round to my nan's house or my aunties and without them playing the best of the Four Tops or Diana Ross or Temptations, so that has sort of been ingrained in me as a kid, and I never really grew out of it. Do you know what I mean? And I think on earlier albums and definitely sort of Puppets albums, we sort of hinted at it a bit, and I've definitely hinted at it. And then it's just another side of my personality. I've got quite a glam rock, let's have it side of me. I guess the last album was like that, and I was, I had makeup on and I had a jumpsuit, and I thought I was like somewhere between Mark Bolan and a WWE wrestler. And and then this one, I just wanted to get the suits back out really visually, and that was where I was going with the music. And the two, I sort of pictured both in my mind and went for it.
Did you go through a sort of wave, because you said it was like your parents and your nan who introduced you to this music? At first it's kind of all you have, and then you're kind of like, oh, actually, no, that's not cool because it's stuff that your parents, and then you kind of...
No, you know what? Where did you say that? Because I didn't, I didn't really rebel against it. Some other things I did, don't get me wrong, but with that music, because it's like they like it, I think, oh, it's not cool or something. No, I never did with that, which is funny. Definitely did with many things, for sure, but not that,
Fair enough. Stayed true. Respected their opinion. Of course, shout out to everyone at Record Corner. Thank you so much for your question. So I hear that you launched the album by doing a pop-up in a chicken shop, and you also had your own limited edition buffalo sauce and t-shirts.
I know what a world we are in. When I started out, if you said I'd be chatting to you in my living room on the iPad and I'd have launched my album selling me on chicken wings as well, I would have laughed at you. But it was such a buzz, to be honest. And like it started, me and me mate Big Lou, we just love fried chicken and mince and shit. That's kind of our go-to, when we go out, whatever. Or if he comes around the house, we have a little cook-off. I mean, we did it and put it on Insta, and it seems to get a bit of a thing. And then this opportunity arose, so we were like, you know what, let's launch the album in this wing bar that we always go, and just sort of try something a bit out of the box,
By limited edition buffalo sauce, is that literally just did you design something, or did you put some extra bit of Miles Kane in there?
Yeah. Bit of me left arms in there.
Yeah, well, I hope you save some for us, because
I'll get some too.
Yeah, for sure. And how were the record stores? Because I know that you performed at a couple of those.
Yeah, I mean, last week was a bit of a whirlwind. It was there was so much going on, and we did just acoustic, and I hadn't played for ages, and you're just playing in these little record shops, and it was the most nervous thing I've ever been. You know what I mean? Like when you play acoustic, there's nowhere to hide, and you can't show off, and you can't hide the band or whatever. It was kind of. And I've done those things before, but I think just because it had been like a while for me, before, like I hadn't done anything like that, and it took me a minute, but it was kind of a new feeling that I hadn't really felt, and I absolutely loved it, to be honest. The way I sort of change certain songs, and the strict backness of it is something that I really enjoyed, and it's kind of something I want to do, I think, in the future, maybe whether it's for the next album or something about sparseness in things is kind of what's turning me on now, if that makes sense. Like
I find that there's such a real focus on the lyrics when you do a stripped back version as well. Obviously the full version is like the full show, but like you mentioned, it's kind of stripping it back bare, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it was, and you get a certain different emotions singing them as well. It was amazing, really. I loved it. I would have done more, to be honest. Yeah.
Which of the new tracks went down, you think? Well,
this one, there's a song called "Never Get Tired of Dancing" on the album, which is a real upbeat, sort of stomper, which would be amazing to play live, but sort of doing it acoustic. I did it a bit more, say, bluesy, and it was a bit more status quo, but it worked out really well. It was kind of like almost like a bit of a status quo meets Johnny Cash version, and I got a buzz off that. Like,
I mean, I've already like put in my notes about that one. Like, "Never Tired of Dancing" is definitely like up there for me right from the off. It's like it's just huge.
Yeah, for me, it's kind of got everything. You've got that killer riff. It's a bit gnarly. Do you know what I mean? There's a bit of anger in there, and it's just, and I love how it came about, that tune. I wrote it with my mate called Simon Aldred, and we had a few days in the studio. The first day we did a tune and that, and then what you should never do. We went out and got obliterated. We ended up back here where I am now. We moved the table, closed the curtains, just blasted Motown. We were dancing, just me and him.
So is it you and your mate? It's not, because when you first listen, you're like, oh, is this like you've come back from a date and you're like carrying on?
No. This is just me and just two old men, like just, yeah. And the next day we went in and we were like, we had, all I wanted to do was watch Sex and the City and eat Haribo. I did not want to be in the studio that day. And then we were just we started kicking about. Remember last night when we closed the curtains, we moved the table, and we jokingly started doing that as a chorus, and that's how it came about. And it was written really fast, and I just loved that those lyrics basically happened the night before with that tune.
There's something so present about songs like that, ones that kind of fall out of you like the next day. And sometimes a lot of artists say that the quickest songs that they've written are sometimes like their favorite ones.
And on this record, I Change the Show was the same. That was one morning. I just came down, was having a coffee, sat here in my dressing gown. My mate was staying with me as well, and it was raining outside. The news was on, and it was just really depressing. You know what I mean? And everything was just like, I felt this sort of weight in my head, and and you know, sort of wrote that tune about everyone banging heads together and out of frustration, and I sort of turned the TV off as if to say change the show, and then you know, just started being like, we're too busy losing battles, I get bad but I always get better. Started this little, it was almost like a nursery rhyme, you know, the verses of it, and then sort of had the whoa 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 on the chorus, and we took it in the studio and it became, you know, what it is, and that version is what we did that day actually on the album. So yeah, those tunes are great. I wish they happen more like that. You know, the very few go between. The rest of the time, it's stressful, man. Yeah.
At what point did Change the Show become the title track?
Yeah, I think it was kind of like the missing link, and I needed a tune on the album, or wanted a tune that was like that, and a bit sort of anthemic and sort of confident, and it almost sits like, I've got old songs called, one called Come Closer and one called Don't Forget Who You Are, and I think that it sits in the bracket of them two, if that makes sense. And it, you know, I don't know, when you finish your album and I know showing it to your mates or your management or whatever, you know, that tune people seem to really liking it. I think the way, again, how that came about, the story behind it, and it was kind of one of the last ones written. It connected it all together for me, so it was a bit of a no-brainer in the end.
And you mentioned that those songs were quite quick to come to you. Which song on this album went through the most change?
Maybe probably Tears Are Falling Down, the first one, or Nothing's Gonna Be Good Enough. The duet I did with Corinne, you know, that sort of had a few different jackets on it for a minute, if that makes sense. You know, it used to be a bit sort of heavier at times, and I did a real slower version. And then when we sort of set on the childlike riff on the piano, like dun 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 dun, sort of reminds me of sort of primary school, that, for some weird reason. And we did it in a Motown style. That sort of brought the song to life. And then, you know, her doing her bits on it just added even more.
I love the way you're just like casually like Corinne. Like, are you really close with her? Like Corinne Bailey Rae, for me, I'm just like, this is insane.
Yeah, man, me and her go way back. Like, we did like on my first solo record, Colour of the Trap, she did some singing for us on like the BVs and stuff, and we were like hanging out around then. And then we've been mates for probably over 10 years, yeah. But you know, the last sort of few years we didn't speak, just with life and whatever. And then a couple of years ago, I was in the kitchen. I'd had a few bevies, and I thought I was Judy Garland swanning around the kitchen, and one of their tunes came on, and I just texted her, I was like, "Hope you're well, like, love this, you know, that song's mega." And then it rekindled our friendship, and then we started sending each other our new tunes, new demos, and we've always talked about writing together or doing a duet together, you know, and we've eventually 10 years later we eventually did it, and it became that tune, and I absolutely love that, and I'd love to do more like in that vein, for sure.
Where's the music video for that? Because it looks like a lot of fun, and I recognise on the venues that the men's club. Hang on.
The where me and Corinne are is Bethnal Green.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, they have some boss nights in there.
It's so good. It's so good, and it just I feel like you can tell that you guys go way back, because the video is so fun.
Yeah, no, there's definitely, like, we have chemistry, do you know what I mean? And I think it's important that when you're doing a duet, you know, there's definitely, yeah, I think we both get a kick out of it, and there's a mutual respect and a love there, and it's kind of, yeah, there's something that you could go further down that road, I think, you know what I mean, creatively.
And Corinne Bailey Rae is not the only feature that I've noticed. We've got like a spoken word section, which I always love a spoken word bit in a track, and I wondered whether it was like a sample or something. But you've got Lily Savage, which was Paul O'Grady's former drag persona, on a track. How did that come about? Like, was that Was that exactly what you envisioned, like what you wanted?
Yeah,
How
well,
did that happen?
yeah, like what the hell? No, well, again, like harling back to like growing up with my mum and my nan and that, Lily Savage on the telly. That's what we grew up with, and that humour. I mean, it's so Liverpool. We have the best humour. I think. No offence or that, but it's that sort of thing is so sort of prominent in our family or whatever, and so I was a massive fan of Lily Savage growing up. Lily Savage and Liam Gallagher were my two sort of, bookends. And I just one day in the studio, I was just watching outtakes of showing one of the lads. He was looking at me like I'm bonkers. And then I just did this little monologue that he says of, it's topical, it's this, is that, it's of the moment, it's of today. Really resonated. And I was like, this should be the advert or describe my new album, And we put it at the beginning of this tune, Don't Let It Get You Down. And, when we come to master it, my manager was like, oh, we're getting rid of that. Is that just a joke, like an in joke? I was like, no, this is it. It's in the song now. It's got to be. It makes so much sense. And then, but to get the rights for the sample, as you said, it was a lot of money. So we contacted him, and it turns out he's like a fan of mine, and he got our last couple of records. And he called me up, and we had an amazing chat on the phone. He's like, I'll just do it for you, before my radio show or something, that I'll record it. So yeah, an absolute diamond. And I haven't met him yet. We just text, and we've had a couple of calls, but I definitely, I want to take him out for dinner for sure to say thank you. Like,
that's iconic. I love that so much. Okay, one more question from me before we get into your questions. So remember to get them to us in the comments section. I know that change the show for you. Like I feel like it says it in the title as well. It means a lot for you now in the present. What did you want people to take away from this album?
I think, yeah, I mean, each album is like a little, well, for me personally, or it's like a little postcard of where you're at in your life, or what. And I can be a selfish writer. Do you know what I mean? And I know Change the Show is not really about me. It's about frustration and whatever was going on in the world, and confusion in that sense. But I just try and be as honest as I can be, whether I'm being happy or sad, and I try and do that in lyrics, and to sort of, and I guess they tend to be a bit like quite melancholic, and I don't mean to. I'm just trying to express how I'm feeling, and I sort of put that with this upbeat music, and that's kind of my thing, I guess. So what do I want anyone to take away? I don't to maybe to feel an emotion that I've felt during that, or there's an understanding there because there's been real situations like that, or feelings, I guess that's all you can ask for, really. Or it may be completely something else to them, and they can take it on their own journey,
I remember listening to See Ya When I See Ya and thinking, like, on a first listen, I was like, yeah, this is great. I think I was, I don't know, walking somewhere, and I was like, this is a fun one. I like this one. And then you listen again, you listen to the lyrics, and you're like, oh, it's quite emotional, actually.
I love that tune. Yeah, that's one of my faves. See You When I See Ya. Like I love titles like that, and I think a lot of like this, like sayings or something. I love songs that have like sayings in them.
Yeah. Okay, guys, Chloe Lockett on the Record Club's Facebook page says, which song from the new album came most naturally to you? And love the album.
Probably See It When I See Ya. Yeah, that was just one of those. It was kind of then that lyric, and then the rest of the lyrics sort of fell out pretty easy. And I guess the style of the tune, and it's a proper, like, even though it's not a fast tune, but it's a great walking tune, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's you can get a little bop onto that one, and I sort of buzz off tunes like that.
Yeah, big fan, big fan. Josie Hobbs on the Record Club's Facebook page says, how do you think your career or life has changed since your first album up until your most recent album?
Well, I feel I'm grateful that I'm still here doing it, for one, because you don't realise how time flies. I'm 35 and we've been doing it since like 17, 18. It's like I think my career has been like a roller coaster, to be honest. It hasn't been plain sailing at times, but it's I've always navigated it to be how I want it to be, and I guess I can't really ask for much more than that, really. And the fact that people still give a damn as well is a nice feeling.
Leonel Almeida on Miles's page says, "Good evening, Miles. That song Tears Are Falling is incredible. What was your inspiration?"
There's a lot of imagery in that song, and it's a self-reflective tune, and it's like as if I'm looking in the mirror, that tune.
And Georgia Tracy Ling on your page as well says, "Can we expect any Last Shadow Puppets tunes on the tour?"
Yeah, I think so. I've been doing those acoustic things we did last week. I was doing Aviation and see when Standing Next to Me. So I reckon them in the set will definitely add in for sure.
And we've also got Maggie on the Record Club's Twitter who says, what can we expect from the tour in May?
Oh, well, for one, I can't wait for it, and it'll be the best sort of rock and roll gig you will see. I've got an amazing band. We've got Harley with us, who did the BVs on the record. It's kind of like, I want it to be like Sly and the Family Stone. Do you know what I mean? Upbeat and just sort of in your face, and like party vibe is what we're going for. You know what I mean? Changing up each night and just raucous on stage.
Do you have anyone supporting you?
I've got a new singer called Brooke Coombe, and she's got a couple of singles out that you should check out because she's mega.
Is she from the Northeast?
She's from Edinburgh.
Okay, yeah.
She's amazing voice, and she's coming out with us on tour. So I'm buzzing for that as well. I think she's great, and it's exciting.
Yeah, everyone get down early to see Brooke as well.
Yeah.
Support the cause. And we've got one from Callum on Instagram who says, "What music were you listening to during the recording of Change the Show?"
I mean, loads, to be honest. When we're in the studio, it can be like, to get a drum sound or that, we'd be listening to like Mad Turkish Psych or Bowie or like Action Bronson, Method Man. It can go so the sort of the bracket of sort of to take a tune from the acoustic and think of like, oh, I want the bass a bit gnarly, like hip hop or something, or bowling-esque guitar. There's so many. You probably what you're listening to, you wouldn't think is. You wouldn't put those half of them together, but there's no real rule, really. Yeah.
I watched a documentary on creativity, and they said that it's like opposites. If you're taking inspiration from opposites and then creating something off the back of that's how you create something new.
Like today, in that I was just like smashing out Wu-Tang all day, but man, and it was just kind of getting me going. You know what I mean? And like, not my music's nothing like that, but I love that, you know what I mean? And I love the sound of drums, the guitars, and lyrics and stuff. It's like, but that'll influence me to write a rock tune or something,
All right, okay. Thank you so much, guys, for getting your questions in. To bring the Record Club to a close, I do want to ask you for some album recommendations, maybe something that you've been listening to recently, that you want to shout out, or perhaps an artist that you think that we should all listen to.
Cool. Oh, is this to me?
Yeah, to you.
Oh, I thought you were saying that to everyone then. Like,
oh, sorry, I did kind of say it like that, didn't I?
I think it's because you're looking at the thing. Well, today I had that Action Bronson, Mr. Wonderful album, which is an amazing record. And then I like Sam Fender's new record too, his album. So that's kind of what I've had on today. Like,
Yeah, sick. Okay. Well, that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining us, Miles Kane.
Thank you so much. Cheers, Jess.
And of course, if you haven't already got yourself a copy of Change the Show, we absolutely recommend you do that. Order one from your local record shop. I'm also very excited to announce that the winner of this week's Bowers and Wilkins wireless headphone prize is we have got Josie Hobbs on the Record Club's page. So make sure, yes, slide in
Nice
the
one,
DMs.
Josie.
Get in the Record Club's DMs and we'll get those headphones to you. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone at home, and sending in your questions. Our next guest is going to be announced on the Record Club's social media very soon. So make sure you're following us. And all previous episodes are available to watch back anytime on our YouTube channel. Miles Kane, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Jess.